I'm sorry, I didn't sleep very well last night. I have
Me
to
neither.
admit. I think I went to bed at about 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm like tired today.
Well, that's when my second night starts.
Yeah, no, I'm usually a pretty good sleeper, knock on whatever. It's unusual. Sorry. And so you're saying that the staff person for the straight up solar is not here to answer questions?
Well, yeah, I can answer what I know whenever you're ready.
Okay.
She's turned the camera on, so.
We can get started here. All right, it is 4:30. I'm calling this meeting to order of the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Kyle Patterson,
Here.
Danielle Chenoweth,
Here,
Andy Forster.
Here.
All right, can I have an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public participation. Not seeing any. Next we have ratification of requisition number 7054, payable to Burns Clancy and Associates for the CUPHD sidewalk project in the amount of $5,729.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Next, we have approval of change order number 1 between CUPHD and Straight Up Solar LLC for an amended amount of $1,035,439 and an increase of $25,290.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. So it goes back to the original, so I had some community members call me on this, and that this was a $1 million project that I'm assuming we approved. I don't remember, but I'm sure we did. But apparently it was done just through an assignment of the project to this company and not through any RFP process or bidding or anything else.
Yes.
And so this was what, a month ago now? I mean, I
I think it's been longer than that.
brought it to everybody's attention, and Ruth was gonna look into it, and I have yet to hear anything back. And so now we're looking at a change order to increase the cost of this project, which I'm gonna vote no for, because clearly I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't feel comfortable enough to say that we can hire a company, $1 million project with no bidding as a public entity. That seems not appropriate.
Alright, yeah, and so just to kind of tell you what I know about, this project, this started in 2000, this started in 2016 when, I cannot remember, Brandon would know, either the city of Urbana or the county,
It was Urbana.
okay, Urbana, had a meeting, and that's the first time he had ever even considered doing solar. He went to that meeting, and I think he's just been working with the same people ever since. Of course, we had to wait 2 years to get the roof on, which we finally got the new roof, and then we had COVID, and then it just, started that we could do it again, and so it was just the same place, and I don't think we've talked to anybody other than that company, and I'm not even 100% sure how they do it. Like, are they like a Burns Clancy that they are over solar? Because that is what it seemed like at the beginning. You know what I mean when I say like a Burns Clancy? They're like an overseer of a project.
I think they're the company.
That does it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and I know that because they have a lot of, they don't follow a lot of diversity standards. They absolutely don't follow a lot of union standards, and they have a lot of complaints apparently against them as well. So, I mean, I just, again, I was hoping that the attorney would be able to provide me with a simple answer, yes, it's legal, or no, it's not. I figured a month would be enough time.
And
but
what we do now that if we did it, if we already signed a contract with them, and how we need to know just basically
Right.
how to fix this.
Right.
Yeah. So,
If it's
okay.
fixable.
If it's fixable. So basically, this is gonna be holding for Ruth's, comment, is that correct? You wanna-
Yeah, I mean, I've said my piece. I mean, at this point, the only thing we have on the agenda is the $25,000 change order. So,
So, I wanna connect this to the conversation we had at the last board meeting, Andy, that I think I was absent for you asking Ruth for information, and you were absent for the conversation we had last week. But one of the things this underlines for me is that our process of doing bidding is not sufficient. And part of this has to do with looking at there'll be times when we receive one bid and there are no other bids. There are other times when we receive multiple and we're asked to choose between them. There are criteria, screening criteria. What I was told at the last meeting is that the screening criteria is the cheapest one that fits the parameters, receives it, and I had suggested that this board has spoken about prioritizing minority, truly minority and truly women-owned businesses. There are ways to get around that and make it look like it is, especially women-owned businesses. When it's not, prioritizing local businesses, cost should absolutely be a factor, but it shouldn't be the only factor. And also looking at labor practices. That is both looking at union shops, we are required to pay prevailing wage, but also looking at diversity. Some of the unions really lack significant diversity and have shut black and brown people out of their unions for a long time, and I can go on a long story of my participation in trying to change that, and in some cases we've been able to make progress and some not. So I had asked the staff if they would reach out to the county to look at the bidding process that the county has been putting together. We talked about Champaign's list and recognized that folks are listed, but they aren't always updated. So they may have been listed at some point as a minority-owned business, but they're not listed as current. That's actually the case with a lot of the folks who are listed. And then how we could use that to do outreach, that list to do outreach along with other lists and public venues that could be to the union list as well, but then have screening criteria that we go through when we're assessing an RFP. I remember what I recall, and I wasn't able to, I didn't fully understand the concern because I didn't hear your concern before. But essentially, as I recall, we waited for the roof, we got the roof done, and we were going with essentially the city's choice. And my understanding, and I'd have to look through the records, was that what the city of Urbana has been doing for years, and I've participated in some of this, is that they will assess a vendor. There's a lot of creeps out there, so they do assess like an energy provider or a vendor. They go through a competitive process. And they select different vendors in different years. So some year it may have been straight up solar, then I think they had MREES one year. Now they're working with the group that I'm talking to right now. I can't remember. Township is about talking with them about doing solar on our properties. But it's a new, and each time they've gone through a different RFP process. So my one memory about this, and this is to say that Straight Up Solar was the vendor of choice that the city was using. And they had gone through a competitive bidding process, and that we as a community were trying to get to a certain threshold of solar. And that if we get to that threshold, there is a discount for everyone in that pool. So it's similar to when the Chamber of Commerce went and bought power, and they did like a bulk buy. So I would just want to go back, and I can, do this. I'm fine with tabling this. I don't think we should necessarily move forward today with it, and get information from Ruth. And I'll also look back and see what the conditions were at the time. But I don't remember the date that we approve this. I do wanna say for the record that when it comes to when it comes to contracts, I think we should have options. I think we should have a point structure, and I think we should understand and be able to weigh, we can take staff input, the staff can say, well, we need to work on this right now, and this minority-owned contractor is not available for 6 months, and people are gonna get
That's
hurt
the main
with a
concern.
wheelchair in this location. That's a
Yeah.
perfect reasonable argument to make, but it should be made.
Yeah, and that's the,
Right.
that's the matrix that we're putting together. Remember we, at the
Yes.
last meeting?
Yeah.
So we're putting together something like that where it's basically that we put the different people up there together and then we can do a matrix to check off, you know, if they need whatever. And then based on the decision, then we can bring those to the,
Mhm.
you know, we can bring those in.
And so,
But
I would just suggest our policy going forward is that everything over X dollars goes out to bid, and there's actually language, I mean, you can look at state code.
Well, it says here 20,000, I think it's
Yeah, it
increased.
may be that it just may be that it didn't happen. Because it was-
But in this case, it could have been potentially part of a bulk buy we were doing as a community, so in terms of legal liability, it's not clear to me that we have a legal liability, I feel like we have to go back
It
to
was
that
some
piece.
kind of a consortium thing, you're right, that was in 2016, and it was similar to what we did with we thought it was anyway, maybe it wasn't, with what we do with, Chamber of Commerce for the power.
But my counter to that is I'm almost certain that in no way, shape, or form did we ever do an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Urbana to be
No.
part of their consortium. So by that
No.
fact, then we're not part of that consortium. We can't just steal their ideas without something that states that we want to be part of this group. I mean, there's purchasing groups all over the place, but unless you join one and as a local government, you put that to the body, then it doesn't ever happen. So whether or not this was part of a purchasing group or anything else, if we didn't participate in that group, I still think it's illegal. So, I mean, I beat my dead horse, of course, but, rhymes.
I think if we're going to talk about issues of legality, it feels appropriate to have that in closed session with our attorney. I wouldn't say at this point, on face value, it's legal or illegal. Certainly I respect your opinions, do
Yeah.
whatever you want, but if there is that concern, I would suggest that we have a closed session about it.
I agree.
There's a serious legal concern. Is there state language that you have seen that?
Well, I was just Googling, ILCS, I mean,
Mhm.
Here it states that, over 20,000, the city of Champaign, the township's 35, so, I don't know if this is older. Again, that's why we have an attorney,
Yeah.
so I think our attorney could easily, provide input.
Yeah,
On
that's,
this.
and that's what we've been waiting for, I don't know.
And second question, did this project start?
It's scheduled to begin on October 2nd.
It has not started,
Okay.
and they have not received any money, correct? Or have they? Oh, they have.
Yeah, they
But
Usually-
then over 600,000.
Oh, yes, that was the other thing that,
Usually
that
do
when
have
they,
to.
okay, because that was the other thing that was brought up, with this, is that well, I mean, we just need room for this. We can't, I don't want to bring up these questions because I don't think, because they're going to require.
Did she excuse herself today? Were we aware whether or not she was coming?
I didn't know she wanted
Could somebody follow up so that there's a better protocol with our attorney where she's able to tell us proactively whether she will be late or not available?
She usually does tell us that she
So, what would be appropriate, did you have a discussion on this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd say I agree with, the points that both of you guys have made. I know at the county, I think if it's over 20,000, I think we have to do an RFP. I think if it's over 10,000, we have to get at least 3 bids. I mean, the issue right now is that we're making a decision about the contract. It's just a change order. That's really a small percentage of the total contract. But I definitely show those concerns, and I'd be a lot more comfortable moving forward if we could speak with the attorney and have the attorney do some research on this. And also, like, it's just kind of, I wish that we had a more clear process in general, like Danielle raised. Sometimes we pick between the bidders, sometimes, you know, we're just presented with one. I wish there was a more clear, defined process for that, so that we could avoid, you know, these types of situations. But if somebody wants to make a motion, I would support delaying this if we could.
Move to table to our next, regularly scheduled meeting. When is our regularly scheduled meeting?
October 9th.
Okay, so it'd be a week after the project start date. And I would suggest that we have both a closed session and open session item on the agenda, on that agenda for this topic.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes.
I have a question here. Do we need to have Brandon reach out and tell them that we can't start that project on the second?
What?
That'd be a Ruth question too, I'm
So
guessing.
it is a real question. I'll send Ruth an email right after this, okay?
If there's a lack of
Yeah.
clarity, that's probably safest, but I would ask Ruth about it. It sounds like we've paid them $600,000 or so, and I'm assuming it's been deposited in their bank.
Oh, it's been months ago.
I mean, it's been a long time ago, and it's typical that you would pay half up front for a project like that, so they can order supplies, so.
And, yeah, but the matrix and thing is coming, and Jim, you weren't here last week, but Jim Thomas is our new person in charge of the maintenance stuff, and he's the first person we've ever had here really that knows how to do bids and things like
Project
that.
management.
Project management, so we're putting together with him and Micaiah and Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, we're putting together like I said, a little matrix thing to use on the different bids, and then we're going to start using that. We'll bring that in once we get it going.
Yeah, I would suggest it be accompanied with a purchasing policy that is set by the board, where it's in writing, it's clear what our policy is, and that includes that matrix. And then, you know, you can ask the board for revisions to it, but
Agreed.
it certainly has a large public health input, how we move our money. We have a lot of money that we move, and there are implications, community implications for that, so. I'm glad that we're taking a moment to look at this.
All right, next is the approval of bid to A&R Mechanical Services Incorporated for the CUPHD sidewalk project in the amount of $81,189.42.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
That passes. For our next meeting, we have, if we needed, a study session, September 28th, 2023, at 10:30 a.m. And our monthly meeting is October 9th, 2023, at 4:30 p.m. All right, seeing no other business, I call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Why don't we have one of you to sign the notice of
Because of
award
the
on the
sidewalk.
sidewalk?
Okay.
The problem was that the sidewalk, yeah, he has something, but the sidewalk